2020 NASCAR playoffs are right around the corner, and there's a lot of drivers who find themselves hovering around the playoff cutoff line. So today I'm going to pull an NBC and ramble on about the playoffs for a decent amount of time, while also putting on my best urinating tree impression, considering I'm basically ripping off his Hater's Guide series. Oh hey, and speaking of rip-offs, it seems NASCAR has copied my "What if Carl Edwards never retired" video. It seems like this guy's been on half the polls this season due to random draw. He always has a good first stage and fades back in the field. At sitting 145 points above the cut line, they look to be a lock for the playoffs, and their consistency could earn them a deep playoff run. It wouldn't even surprise me if they made the Final Four, considering Ryan Newman's run in 2014. Kurt Busch is consistent, no doubt about it. Kurt Busch actually sits fourth in the old Winston Cup points format, but NASCAR's modern points format doesn't reward consistency, and instead puts Kurt 12th in points, 112 points above the cutoff line. The most underrated driver in NASCAR. What else is there to say? Kyle Busch is in an interesting position. By no means is he having a bad year, but for Kyle Busch standards, it's an abysmal year. He can't seem to complete a race or even lead laps for that matter. But that being said, JGR isn't where they were last year. Truex has taken a step back and Jones steps on his nose every week. Denny Hamlin is the only driver on JGR who consistently brings in the wins. To me, this seems more like a Gibbs problem than a Kyle Busch problem, but if he has a few more weeks like this past week in New Hampshire, he might be in real trouble. He only has a 94-point cushion, and that could be gone in an instant. Clint Bowyer is in a dangerous position, with only a 43-point cushion above the cutoff line, and the way he's been running since Darlington 2, he could find himself on the outside looking in at any moment now. All I can say is he would be better off in the booth than running 20th every week like he has been. I really don't know what to think about this guy. He has ran average all year, but I don't know if it's good enough for a playoff berth. With this 40-point cushion, as long as he keeps running the way he does, he'll be able to make it in. But a few blunders here and there and he'll be on the outside looking in. This team is seriously lacking compared to where they were in 2019. Last year they were improving off their 2018 campaign, but this year they're just a little bit off. Either the lack of practice is throwing them off, or Chad Knaus is getting worse with age. However, if they fail to make the playoffs this season, it will be a major step back in performance. This rookie is impressed this season. If you asked someone at the beginning of the year who would the best rookie be, I doubt anybody would have told you Tyler Reddick. He is on RCR. He is not supposed to be good. However, RCR has definitely stepped up their game compared to last year, and a big part of it is definitely Tyler Reddick. If he can point his way into the playoffs this year, it will give them some serious confidence for next year, and I can definitely see them making a semi-deep playoff run this season. In his farewell season, things have been disappointing to say the least for Jimmie Johnson. Nothing but bad luck every race. He started off the season running pretty well, but it's been all downhill from there. Nothing but wrecks and horrible luck. Find him 25 points below the cutoff line. He's not a must-win territory yet, but a few more weeks like this, and he's going to have to put on the desperation cap. Eric Jones has had nothing but bad luck thrown his way this season. Crash after crash, pit road penalties, and horrible pit strategy have put him in a minus 31 to the cut line position. It's getting very hard to defend him after so many mistakes this season. Heck, he's even in danger of losing his ride at the end of the year to Christopher Bell. This team just has to have a few races go their way, and they'll be in playoff territory. But until that happens, I'm just waiting for the announcement of Bell to the Tony car for 2021. These next 4 drivers are within 4 points of each other and are all within must-win positions. Michael McDowell has come out of nowhere this season and ran top 20 most weeks. Not bad for a front-row motorsports entry. Chris Buescher has definitely taken a step backwards from where he was last year. Not surprising considering he went to Roush of all places, a team that is worse than JTG. Bubba Wallace has definitely had the most eyes on him this season. A lot of extra media attention has been placed on Bubba's shoulders amid all that is happening in the world. Richard Petty Motorsports as a whole has made a slight improvement as a team this year as well, but is still not in playoff territory. Bubba needs to go to a competitive team next year to maximize his opportunities at playoff berth. Christopher Bell has had an expected season. He's not at JGR, he's at Levine Family Racing, a mere aligned team with JGR. If you had high expectations for him coming into 2020, I'm sorry, but you've overestimated the team severely. Oh, speaking of his team, I sure bet he is happy not knowing where he'll end up next year. Ryan Newman has not been the same since the Daytona 500 accident. He's been getting involved in way too many wrecks and is not the consistent Newman we've seen for all these years. My bet is he hangs it up at the end of the year, but hey, you never know. Ricky Stenhouse started the season on the highest of highs, the Daytona 500 pole. Ever since then, it's been a complete dumpster fire. But hey, maybe he can rekindle some of that 2018 Daytona luck and bulldoze his way to a win in the cutoff race. Matt Kenseth is a driver who definitely shouldn't have come out of retirement. Sure, it worked for a guy like Mark Barton, but my God, Kenseth cannot put a race together. Aside from Indianapolis, this team has been far from competitive. He's been driving more like Natalie Decker than his usual Matt Kenseth self for most of this year. So there's a rundown of every relevant driver's performance not locked into the playoffs as we set our sights on the playoffs coming up in September. Now I'll send it back to NBC so we can hear the word playoffs a gazillion times more. See you next time. Hope you enjoy.